Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Tarek, I'm not here today to say whether or not Sonic 06 is a good or a bad game. I think we all know the answer to that one. I'm here to talk about Marathon Recomp, the static recompilation of Sonic 06 on the Xbox 360. And that is because recently in the comments I've been seeing a lot of people ask if there's any movement on Marathon Recomp. So I went over to the GitHub and saw there have been some commits recently, but there is no actual release build. So what I went ahead and did is I built the GitHub repo to get a playable version out, and that is what I'm showing you today. It's definitely not finished in any way, shape, or form, but definitely compared to the last time I took a look at this, it is much improved and really does feel like a more modern version of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is to say, it still has the same level of jank it did when it came out back in the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 era, but it definitely is improved a lot around the edges as well. And even though Sonic 06 definitely is a game that's going to require a lot of modding to actually get a lot of the brokenness out of it, because the static recomp is targeting accuracy, which means the jank would come along with it, it is still impressive work, and I knew you guys wanted to see it, so I figured I would be talking about it today. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. And I love how epic of an opening you get just to be dropped into the town square of Soliana so Sonic can just wander around and talk to NPCs before he actually gets into a level. This was clearly Sega and Sonic Team experimenting with what Sonic could be, but honestly it really wasn't that successful. And I remember when this game was previewed, I was stoked like everybody else to be able to actually play this, because I was expecting kind of a Sonic Adventure 3 vibe going on, and while the vibes definitely are there in part, it definitely didn't hit in the way we needed it to, and it was a huge disappointment for both Sega and sales as well as Sonic fans just in getting a game they wanted. But even though a static recompilation can't cure all the game's flaws, it can definitely improve around them, and that is definitely what we want to see going on with this one. And I will say this new build, at least the one that I built from the GitHub repo, is way more stable, way more performant, and just 100% seems to be working, at least as far as I got in. If you're wondering why you're seeing this in the ultra-wide aspect ratio right now, it does basically just take whatever aspect ratio monitor you're using, and it puts it into that aspect ratio. When I alt-entered to try to get to an actual window, it basically just zoomed in to like a quarter of the screen. So ultra-wide is the best way I can capture it. Hopefully in the future that does change up a little bit, but I will say it's kind of a vibe in ultra-wide, and because I do use two ultra-wide monitors for my production, it's just what I have in front of me. But interestingly enough, all the cutscenes are going to play in 16:9, and I'm not sure if these are in-engine or FMVs. They kind of have an in-engine vibe, but they could be videos as well, so if you know the answer to that, leave it down below. But that kind of weird blip there with the lighting model really does make me think that these are being done completely in-engine. But this is a fun project. Obviously we already have Sonic Unleashed using the same tool set, and that was just a 10 out of 10 conversion over to PC. And even if something like Sonic 06 becomes as good as Sonic Unleashed, the gameplay definitely is going to be varied and different, and it's one of those things, if you love Sonic 06, there's going to be a better version of it. If you don't like the game, there's nothing here that's going to convince you to suddenly like it. And I completely forgot to hold down the trigger button there so I could actually run across the sand. And even in general, why would they program that in? Sand that you just fall completely through. It's not like quicksand where Sonic sinks underneath it. It's like he literally just phases into the sand. This was definitely just a game that never really got finished. Sega wasn't quite sure what to do with it, so they shipped it with a ton of bugs. But the good thing is, once this is finished up, modders and developers can go in there and continue to work on trying to make it a better experience. Because I will say some of the levels here can be quite fun, and if they got a lot of the bugs and glitches out of them, it would be something. It wouldn't be a 10 out of 10 game, but it could probably get to like the 7.5 out of 10 category, where I'd put it kind of at a 5 out of 10, where it currently stands if you play it without any fixes. And that was just a bummer back in the day, but honestly, that's what stuff like a static recomp can actually accomplish. We've seen so many of them on the N64 side of things, basically fixing up issues with games that were there from the original release. So I hope that's what we see here as well. But you guys were painfully curious about what was going on, because it's basically been almost radio silence from the team, and maybe fixing something like Sonic not running into that automatically would be amazing. But let's go into the first of two soundtrack samples so you can hear the audio quality, and I'll be right back with a lot more.
Spin the net to make it go faster by pressing the X button in front of the net.
So I mean that definitely sounds like Sonic 06 to me, but like I like to say in basically every video, I have two tin ears and I never hear any issues or deviances from the audio on a recomp versus the actual version of the game unless it is very dramatic. So you leave me a comment down below and you tell me what you think about that. And again, I would love to see something like a static recomp where they just took out all of the different town areas, having to do all these side missions, getting all of the different items in the game, just basically allowing you to go from level to level and play the game in way more of a linear fashion. Because I totally get what Sega was trying to do. Open world games were all the rage when this came out, but it just doesn't really work for a Sonic the Hedgehog game because it really does kind of slow down the overall pacing and make you fight to get to the entertaining areas. But definitely on 360 and definitely on PlayStation 3, even though this is 360 based, the frame rate was definitely not very good. What I'm seeing here in this most recent build, or the one that I built from the GitHub repo, you're getting a great frame rate, you're getting great performance, and really trying to run the game at a good frame rate has not been an issue for me whatsoever. But as a baseline, just so you know, I have an i9-12900K, as well as a 3080 Ti and 64 gigabytes of RAM, which are probably overkill for what this is actually doing. But it definitely is going to run better than an Xbox 360, that is for sure, because even though the performance wasn't the worst thing in the world, it had a lot to be desired. And that is why static recomps are going to be so good for the Xbox 360 era of things as well. Using the Xenon recomp tools, you just get a better performing game, and you have all of the graphics and all of the audio basically brought over into a modern environment, which is different than some of the Rexclu recomps you've been seeing, which are using Xenia right now underpinning everything while they basically recompile the PowerPC code. But Rexclu shortly is going to be moving over to a full recomp status as well, so I'll definitely be talking about that in a video shortly if I already haven't shown it to you. And really, the storyline of Sonic 06, it is a vibe. It isn't for me, but I know some people do love this game, so don't think that I am quote-unquote crapping on it just for fun. I totally get that Sega tried with this one. They just got a little bit muddled in the overall development process. But that is stuff that can be changed, it can be fixed up, but it's never going to change the core gameplay loop as far as Sonic is concerned. Yes, you can fix a lot of the glitches and bugs once this is done, but it really is still going to be the same game. And I do actually appreciate that on the GitHub page, the developers state that all of the bugs and all of the issues with Sonic 06 are going to be coming over because they're going for a 100% accurate static recompilation of the game. And for 100% accuracy, that means you're going to be getting the exact same issues that you would be getting if you played on 360. But I am sure there's going to be mods included, and a lot of people are going to go in and then change things up from there. But it's always great to start of a base with 100% compatibility and accuracy across the 360 version to the PC version. And if you do want to play this today, you can go over to the GitHub and build that repo as well, so long as you know how to set it up and do it. It's not the easiest thing in the world, it's not the hardest thing in the world. It just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of knowledge to understand how to build those repos. But let's do one more soundtrack sample so you can get an idea of the audio quality one more time in this boss fight. And again, not done, but it definitely sounds good to me. So go ahead and listen. I'll be right back with a lot more Sonic 06 Recomp.
See your face. Now it's my turn.
Now it really is Sonic's turn to get another static recompilation, and honestly, all of these projects are absolutely amazing to me, and I'm always impressed with what the team of developers are able to do, because this here just looks prettier, plays better, and more efficiently with a higher frame rate than you would ever get on the Xbox 360, and that's something that this game definitely could use. And I can't wait to see what other Xbox 360 static recomps are going to be coming out with a full recompilation, not kind of the Rexclu mix and match. Not to say it's a bad thing whatsoever. People can develop things however they want, but it is nice to see more of these projects. But you guys were basically asking me what was going on with Marathon Recomp, and I said I hadn't really heard much recently, so I figured I'd pop over to the repo and give it a shot. And it's one of those things that's still in progress. I'm not sure how far into the game you can get because, of course, I don't have the time to complete every single game, and I would highly imagine that this one probably has some issues somewhere in there that might prevent you from doing it easily. But if you want to play it today, I left the GitHub link in the description below so you can go ahead and play around with it. Just be aware one more time that it's not under the releases tab. It is a full build process. But Sonic 06 is definitely a charming game, if a flawed one, and the static recomp is making it even better. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.